Thank you for joining us today. We're going to give everyone else about a minute to join, so bear with us.
His shirt's moving.
All right, let's kick this off. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Hartford Virtual Ski Spectacular. This session is the Snowboard Dryland Basics. My name is Waida Gomez-Garcia, and I'm a Senior Events Manager at Move United, formerly Disabled Sports USA and Adaptive Sports USA. We would like to thank the Hartford for their longstanding commitment and support in allowing us to bring this virtual opportunity. Before we get started, I'd like to go over some housekeeping items. All attendees right now will be on mute to minimize distractions. Please feel free to turn on your video using the camera button or start video at the bottom of your screen. Please note that these sessions will be recorded. If you don't want your video to be shown or haven't signed your media release yet, please feel free to hide your video. You can sign your media release in a link that is about to be sent via the chat box as well. As you will see, closed captioning is enabled for this session, and you're welcome to adjust any font sizes as needed. We definitely want everybody to stay engaged during this session, and Kep and Reggie, I'm sure will also want everybody to say hello. We encourage everyone to adjust their chat functionality to read all panelists and attendees, and feel free to introduce and or ask questions via the chat, and we will be monitoring those. Now, with no further ado, I'd love to introduce, and I'm super thrilled to introduce Kep and Reggie. Turn it over to you both.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, people. Thank you so much for being here. And we're super excited to be able to offer some of our knowledge and support for each and every one of you as you pursue your goals of being a better snowboarder. Kep and I have been working together, man, since 2000. And when did we meet, Kep? 2007, I think it was?
Yes.
Yeah, we met in 2007 in Copper Mountain in Colorado at a USASA, no, 2008, actually. Like a year makes a difference. At a USASA adaptive slalom event. And we just been really, really dedicated to trying to move the sport forward, trying to help as many adaptive athletes as we possibly can learn the sport of snowboarding. And just because we think it's awesome. And then once you learn it, you'll think like we do. You'll think it's awesome too. So a little quick background on ourselves. Kep, you want to give a little overview of you and how you got into snowboarding and some of your background and what your mission goal, your mission statement is for the sport.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Reg. Thanks again to Move United and the Hartford for helping out with Ski Spec. It's one of those things, like Jason Moore said earlier in his Zoom, we really kick off our season with Ski Spectacular and getting to meet all these new athletes and work with new athletes and new Paralympic hopefuls and share the stoke for snowboarding. So we're all hoping that next year we can get back on snow with everyone, get a chance to meet a lot of people this season and get on snow wherever we can this season and just continue that share and love and a passion that we have for snowboarding. Yeah, I've been snowboarding for a little over 20 years. I live in Crested Butte, Colorado. I got involved with adaptive snowboarding back in 2005 with Amy Purdy and Daniel Gale and their organization, Adaptive Action Sports. Met Reggie at USASA Nationals a few years later. Been able to work with several organizations, including the Adaptive Sports Center here in Crested Butte, Team Semper Fi, and I currently work with the U.S. team as a developmental coach for the Paralympic team. Once again, it's just I love snowboarding. I've been involved with this for quite a while. A big injury myself got me involved with adaptive snowboarding and been able to travel around the world, meet all kinds of amazing athletes and amazing people, and snowboard in some really, really cool places. Reggie and I will go back to some of the basics because that's where it all starts is, sliding down the hill as best as you can, and then going from there. But that's a little bit about me. I'm out here in the mountains. I'm loving it. Hoping I get on snow here the next couple of days, and hope to be able to ride on snow with a lot of the attendees this season. So I'll kick it back over to Reggie. Thanks.
I just realized something, Kep. I kind of didn't recognize you without, the beard and the mustache and all that stuff.
Right.
Anybody that knows Kep, he's usually, mountain man, full grown with the facial hair. But as always, you look good. You look handsome, with hair or without hair, brother. But thank you, everybody, for being here. I wish we could be in Breckenridge, Colorado this year in person. Obviously, you all know why we can't. And we have to adapt accordingly, like all of us do. We're used to adapting to changing conditions with some of our physical situations. So this is just another situation that we have to get used to. And I'm glad that we can be together in this forum and not cancel the event altogether. So my hat's off to Move United and Hartford for going forward with Ski Spec 2020. I've been snowboarding since 2007, actually. My background is in motorcycle drag racing. I'm a bilateral below knee amputee. I have been for 42 years, I think. 42 years now. I was electrocuted when I was a kid. Got severely burned, and both of my legs had to be amputated below the knees. And fortunately, I had a support system that told me that I can do whatever it is that I want to do as long as I believed in myself and my abilities, and I worked hard and made sacrifices and this, that, and the other. So I pursued a career in motorcycle drag racing. I became a world champion, and then I retired. And as an amputee, I forgot to say that, as an amputee racing against able-bodied people, kicked all of their butts. And then I retired after 23 years of racing motorcycles. And a friend of mine talked me into snowboarding. And I told him, I was like, man, you crazy? I was like, black people don't snowboard. We're supposed to be out on the beach somewhere. We're tropical people. He said, no, you'll love snowboarding. And he was actually right. I fell in love with it. And I think more so, not only did I fall in love with the sport, but I fell in love with the people. All the people that I met, snowboarders were so like-minded. We're part of a tribe. And all we want to do is see each other get better and do better and have a good time sliding down a mountain. So I got I got registered. I mean, I got certified to instruct in 2012, I think it was, and just been volunteering my time all around the country, different Move United events, and making friends. I've got a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge when it comes to setting up your prosthesis if you are an amputee and you want to snowboard. And I had to learn the hard way through trial and error, taking knocks, falling down, lots of getting back up, and documenting my progress. And then I started to network with people like Kep and other adaptive athletes and learning from them, because nobody has the absolute right setup. Everybody's situation is different. And there is no one right way or a wrong way. It's all different adaptive ways. And that's the beauty of participating in an event like Ski Spec, is you get the chance to network with other adaptive athletes who have different prostheses or spinal cord injuries, and they deal with braces, or they have different prosthetic foots, different components, different snowboards, different bindings. And there's a wealth of information that we can all share together and learn from, and learn to be better, and pursue your goals. And if your goal is to become, a Paralympic athlete, we can help you achieve that goal here. And if your goal is just to be a weekend warrior, to be a better rider, learn to carve better, learn to go into the park and take jumps and features, or whatever your goal is, we can help you achieve those goals. So, that's a little bit about my background. And Kep, you want to get started with some dry land basics?
Yeah. It's a quick overview for snowboarding. Snowboarding is sliding down the hill. Skiing and snowboarding are both very similar. You're using your edges to control your descent down the mountain. It's a gravity sport. There's so much excitement. You know, as a never ever, just sliding down the hill at the slowest of speeds can still be one of the most exciting things that you'll experience. And if you kind of get that bug and you get hooked, that's where you can start to maybe work on some more skills, work your way up the ladder for how you can control that board and really kind of make it do what you want it to do versus it just carrying it down the hill. Like Reggie said, it's more of a community that kind of backs snowboarding and skiing as well. It's camaraderie, getting out with your friends, some fresh air in your face, and just that movement and that freedom that you experience by getting out on snow and making it your own personal experience. You know, we always say you can take a green run and make it more difficult, but you can't make any black diamond runs any easier if you're up on the side of a hill and it's really steep. And that kind of moves us into trying to get into racing and some of the Paralympic tracks over the next few days as we discuss these topics. Is starting out as a never ever or beginner. Your personal challenge is just to get out, get some mileage in, try to figure out all the different components of the board, from your high back angles or the angles of your feet. If you're going to be riding regular or switch, regular means that your front foot, your left foot is forward. Goofy is going to be riding with your right foot forward. And then once you start getting comfortable riding one direction, riding switch is just going to be the opposite of your normal direction that you ride. So inherently we are a little bit different than skiers. But all in all, it's just sliding down a hill. And once you start to get a little bit better, there's some technique that's involved that can make you a little bit faster, a little bit stronger with your turns, carving turns, jumping, etc. That'll kind of get you to that next level if you're thinking about getting into the Paralympic side of racing for border cross or bank slalom. And like Reggie jumped into the mix a few years ago, was going to try to make the 2018 team and was really making a big push for that season for racing. And I'll let Reggie kind of share some of his stories. But even having a wealth of knowledge with prosthetics and his own personal life, you know, he learned a lot that season for what was going to work best for him. And he was sharing other ideas with other athletes that were similar. But all in all, as an adaptive snowboarder, every time you go out on the hill, you're trying to replicate turns and some movements with your body to be as good as you can to ride down the hill and hopefully have a smile on your face and kind of build from there. And I'll throw it back over to Reggie as far as some of the never ever into some racing applications that happen, you know, and trying to commit yourself to snowboarding at a higher level. It's got its own challenges. So I'll throw that over to Reggie.
Yeah, thank you, Kep. Just a show of hands from everybody that's on the video feed right now. How many of you are amputees or interested in amputee snowboarding? You know, everybody's got different adaptive situations. I don't see too many hands, so nobody's an amputee but me, right? Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of people. But from my perspective, a lot of the things that I do in dry land training before I even get to the hill starts weeks prior. So in the season, if I know the season is going to start at Ski Spec, is usually the first event that I go to in first week in December. I'm preparing for Ski Spec, you know, months in advance. One of the things that affects me personally is the altitude. We got to take into consideration the altitude of the mountains that we're going to be riding at, and how that high altitude and the thin air, the lack of oxygen that we may be used to at sea level, how that altitude is going to affect us in our performance, affect us physically, you know, psychologically. It does have an effect on you. So these are things that you want to take into consideration, and maybe, you know, you want to get to the event a day or two prior so you can become acclimated to that high altitude. I can tell you, flying in the night before an event is pretty tough when you get there and you go from sea level. I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so we're just about at sea level, 100 feet or so above. And then when you go to Denver, it's 5,000 feet. And then you get on the shuttle and drive up to Breck, and you're up at 10,000, 11,000 feet when you get up on the lift chair. That drastic shift in altitude can play havoc on your head. It gives you massive headaches. You don't sleep. You're in a different time zone. So all that is going to affect you physically. So you may want to start to ramp up your cardio weeks prior. That may start with just some basic walking, doing some, a mile or two or 3 or 4 or 5, or whatever you're comfortable with, every day or every other day, just to get that cardio up, get that heart rate pumping, and start to prepare yourself for this experience, for this awesome week. Another thing that I like to do is to make sure that my gear is all in check. I learned from motorcycle racing, if you want to be successful, you got to prepare. It's the 6 P's: proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So you got to plan for your event. My prostheses, as I can show you here, is one of my 2 prostheses that I use. If you're fortunate enough to have a different set of prostheses that you may have already set up for sports or something, you want to make sure that all your nuts and bolts are tight. You want to make sure that you got the proper, feet that, there's a lot of different feet on the market that are a little better for us as amputees to be able to snowboard. These particular feet that I'm wearing right here are really good for walking or cross training. They're not the best. I can snowboard in them, but there are better options for plantar flexion and dorsiflexion control on the snowboard. So I don't want to really ride my snowboard or race in these particular feet. So I want to make sure that I have the components with me to travel with and be prepared. I want to make sure that I have tools. I mean, I travel with, a set of pliers and Allen wrenches, a multi-Allen wrench tool, because, all these components on my prosthesis has different bolts and stuff and a lock down inside the socket to keep me in. I want to make sure that all that stuff is tight. If I want to Loctite that stuff, I want to make sure everything is Loctited. My liners, we as amputees, we use these liners to keep what's called our suspension, to keep the socket connected to the body. And this liner has a pin in the bottom of it. Well, this pin can get worn over time. So I want to make sure that, I have brand new pins with really sharp rungs, that none of them are worn down to where my leg may eject as I'm riding my snowboard, which has happened, by the way. I remember my very first snowboard lesson where, I didn't know anything about making sure my pins were up to snuff. And as I was trying to make turns, I actually hit a button and ejected my prosthetic leg. The instructor and some of the participants in the class didn't know I was an amputee. So everybody freaked out when they saw my leg was, like 2 feet away from my body. And they thought that I had a complete separation of my leg because they didn't know I was an amputee. But little things like this, you want to make sure that you're prepared before you get to the mountain. And these are the things that you can do at home. Stretching exercises. If you're going to have, if you anticipate having some high altitude sickness, you want to make sure that you have ibuprofen or emergency. Kep can tell you that there's products out there at high altitude you can mix with water. What is it, Kep? It's something, and it worked really well for me. I tried it.
There's a lot of things that everybody deals with differently as they come up to altitude. I live at 9,000 feet, but still going from 9,000 feet to the top of the mountain here at 12,000 feet causes its own issues. Just a higher activity level for anyone that's trying to get into adaptive skiing or snowboarding can present its own challenges. But like Reggie said, your equipment at the end of the day is what can make or break your session on the hill. Whether you're renting gear for the first time or you're borrowing some gear and you're getting out to snowboard or try it out for the first time, it's important just to make sure that you're as prepared as possible. Always wearing a helmet, having the right goggles situation or sunglasses if you have any visual impairments or anything that you have going on, is just to make sure that you kind of have the right gear set for getting out on the hill. And then, over the next couple sessions, we'll talk about some more about snowboarding, about having clean edges and making sure all your gear is tight and kind of going through everything before you get on the hill to make sure that you have a safe experience possible when you're getting out on the snow. One of the things to echo about what Reggie said there as well is in the adaptive world, there's going to be so many different things that might personally work best for you. Your stance might not mirror somebody else's stance. You might not be an amputee, but having a disability, a physical disability, you might have your stance set up in a manner that doesn't suit anyone else. And at the end of the day, like I say, your main goal is to make sure your equipment's set up and that you're physically set up to get out on the snow and have the best experience possible. Us as coaches and instructors are going to try to help facilitate that. There's tricks of the trades that we know that we can help, that can kind of have major breakthroughs if you're catching an edge a little bit or doing whatever. There's some body movements and some things that we'll continue to go over the next few sessions that'll help kind of get everybody set for mentally and physically being on the snow and preparing for a season. It's one of those challenges this year. We're not able to necessarily be on snow to help out as much as we usually are, but we're looking at this as a positive. Hopefully everybody that's out there right now is going to be able to get on a home mountain somewhere and maybe link up with an instructor that can help them get moving a little bit better. And this season is going to be, I know Reggie and I have talked about this season for both of us is going to be more of a personal, just trying to ride, get back to the love of snowboarding, getting into some powder, getting into some things that really just take you to another place. And that's kind of what snowboarding's about. And I know Reggie's planning a couple trips out here to Colorado and maybe another couple trips just to snowboard for himself. He's usually helping so many other people. And with the new challenges we're going to experience this season, we're going to be able to maybe meet up on snow with some folks in different places that we wouldn't have dreamed of otherwise. So I'll throw it back to Reg here. I know we've got a couple more things we're going to cover. We're also going to, if you have any questions, we're going to have emails available at the end of this, that if anybody has any additional questions about gear, prosthesis, anything like that, we can always answer any of those. So back to Reg.
To echo what Kep just said, talking about different setups, I mean, we're always learning. Nobody has the right setup. There's new components that are coming out onto the market. There's new adaptive aids. You may not be an amputee, but you may have a spinal cord injury or a TBI, or you're an upper extremity amputee or something. So there's all these different adaptive assistive devices that allow us to safely navigate these snowboards down the hill. And there's so much new information that we as coaches get bombarded with every event that we go to. So we're constantly in that learning phase. We have baselines that we can use to generally help people achieve their goals of riding snowboard. But there's also so much more new stuff that we have to get up to speed on. So, and that's where you come in. Everybody has that special, situation that's going on that you can help somebody else. We've said this in our race camps all the time. It's like everybody can help somebody else with your situation. Now, there's different amputees that, I'm a bilateral. I'm missing bilateral below knee amputee. I'm missing both of my legs below the knees. One of my limbs is 8 inches below the knee, and the other one is 6 inches below the knee. Now, the way that I ride my snowboard is different compared to an amputee who may have a longer residual limb, say 10 inches. They have a little bit more leverage to control their toe edge or heel edge than I do. So their situation may be a little bit different. So when you look at them ride or you look at another, adaptive snowboarder ride and you say, man, I wish I could do that. It's a lot of times it's just because of your situation is a whole lot different than theirs. Be it, because of your physical limitations or because of the specific components that you're using. So it's a learning experience. Every time you go out on a hill, you're out there trying to learn as much as you can, and not compare yourself to any other adaptive rider, but to try to learn to be the better rider or the best rider that you can be on hill on that given day. Anything else to add, Kip?
Well, a couple more things I'd like to add is once again,
5 minutes.
Once again, Move United Ski Spectacular is usually one of the events that starts off our season. It's something we look forward to every year. It creates a family atmosphere. It creates a learning experience that's really a one of a kind experience. So for this next couple of days, for us to help anyone replicate that on snow wherever they are, we'll try our best to link you up with some updates on equipment, some programs to get involved with, some people to maybe link up with, because really snowboarding is an individual sport, but it's a family sport. I mean, it's a friend sport, along with skiing. You might go chase one of your friends down a hill at skiing, and as a snowboarder, you might not be as fast, but that might push you to want to go a little bit faster and push you out of your comfort zone. And that's one thing that we're gonna express over the next few days is how to just have your own personal experience going out there, and hopefully you get to share those experiences with other people. I mean, Reggie's been able to ride with folks from all over the world and race against and compete against athletes from all over the world, which has been amazing. A lot of the Paralympic athletes have had an opportunity to travel around the world and share all these new technologies with other adaptive athletes. And that's what's important, is creating your own freedom through sliding down a hill on snow, which is awesome. There's a couple more things. There's a few outlets that are out there. USASA, which is the U.S. Snowboarding Association. They've got an adaptive division. It's a great way, like Reggie said, that's where we met in Copper many years ago. There's an adaptive division that's available. That'd be some opportunities for people to get on snow this year for slalom, giant slalom. They will hopefully have some border cross courses, which is what we have in the Paralympics, and also maybe a bank slalom course. But getting into snowboarding, trying to have a love and a passion for it, those are the big things. You'll learn some of the other stuff, and there's a lot of folks that have been out there that have already learned the hard way and have gone through a bunch of different equipment, testing things out. Right now, in the adaptive world, if you get into snowboarding, there's a lot of resources out there, and a lot of people that are more willing to help. It's an exciting time to get on snow, get out, get moving. It's one of the best things you can do, socially distancing these days. And look forward to hearing any questions that you all have, and look forward to answering some more of these questions over the next few sessions that Reggie and I are hosting, along with some of the other Paralympic athletes and some of the other Move United ambassadors that are going to be helping out. Reggie, got anything else?
I'm sorry, Wida, do we have like 1 more minute?
Yeah, go for it.
Real quick. I know we were talking about dry land basics and some of the things you can do to prepare for your time on hill physically, but emotionally, mentally is something else that we need to touch on. And we'll talk about that in some of the other sessions that Kep and I are going to be doing throughout the week. But take care of yourselves mentally. These are trying times that we're in. These are different times that we're not used to in our lifetimes, being socially distant from other people and not engaging, with other human beings. And I can tell you, it's affected me. It's had an effect on me psychologically and emotionally. in different areas. And so I know other people are experiencing as well. Please reach out for support, be it family members, friends, just engage, talk, Zoom, come in here. Just being here today is a great opportunity for us to get together, a bunch of like-minded people who want to share knowledge and information and just chat. My email address is in the chat section. If you guys want to reach out to me, I'm sure Kep's email address is in there too. If you have questions, outside of this forum, we'll be more than willing to help you. So yeah, take care of yourself.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. Thanks for tuning into this session. Hopefully you've signed up for some other sessions for Ski Spec. And yeah, this is amazing time for people to kind of just get out on their own and adventure on their own. And hopefully I'll be able to get back together soon and get back into riding together and hanging out and having a new outlook on life once we all get back on snow. And then stay tuned for some of the next sessions that Reggie and I are hosting. And we'll just keep kind of going through our path for towards the Paralympic track. If that's what you're interested in, we're just going to get back to grassroots snowboarding this season, hopefully, and having smiles on our faces if we get the chance to get on snow and continue to learn and enjoy sliding down the hill. So thanks again, guys. Reggie, thank you. Wida, thanks. Jessica, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you all in the next couple sessions. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Kep. Definitely very useful nuggets that hopefully others have taken in. I know some key takeaways for me have been snowboarding is a sliding down the hill, and it's a gravity sport. So the thrill of that is very exciting. And certainly we do miss being out on the slopes in Breckenridge this year. It's about movement, and each of us can make it our own experience, which makes snowboarding that much more cooler. In terms of dryland training, starting preparation months in advance is very important. I know Reggie talked about altitude and preparing for that, whether it's staying hydrated or arriving to the mountain a day or two earlier to acclimate, certainly is key. Cardio, everybody can start working on their cardio at home, whether it's walking, running, doing some cycling indoors. Definitely it's about getting the heart rate pumping. Checking your gear, it's very important, and whether it's rentals or equipment that we typically have available for our participants, that certainly is a very important component for a successful event and experience. So having the right snowboard setup is key. And we can't say enough about mental preparation, and with snowboarding either being an individual, family, or a community sport, that's what we're here for today. It's building that community, building that camaraderie. So thank you, Reggie. Thank you again, Kep, for joining us today, and we look forward to the other sessions. And for everyone else, I know there are a few other questions that popped up on the chat, so Reggie and Kep will be following up directly with you. We love feedback, so if you can take a few seconds post-session to do a survey that is going to pop up on your browser, that would be awesome. I think it's also going to be shared on the chat. And as always, everyone can stay engaged via social media using the hashtag #SkiSpec to see what everybody's up to, what their thoughts, what their experiences, what their favorite memories are. We certainly encourage everyone to stay connected. With that, I thank you, everyone. And unless there's any other questions or somebody that wants to hang on, we will end the session before we get ready for another one.